Hello again. Happy bank holiday weekend if you are in the UK and are enjoying the bank holiday weekend. I wanted to make a relatively, hopefully, quick video today, just talking a little bit about something that some of you might have seen last week. I've lost track. Some point within the last 14 days, I recorded a video for the BBC along with some other amazing women talking about our birth traumas. It was filmed by a lovely lady called Jen Greaves. You can follow her on Twitter. She creates really interesting content for the BBC and is just an all-round really nice person. Anyway, we made the video. I'll try and put a link to it below if I can. And it was to help raise awareness during Birth Trauma Awareness Week. And it was a really wonderful opportunity to just talk about not only the trauma itself that we all went through, but then how it's continued to affect our lives and what we think could be done better in the future to help other women either prevent such traumas or cope with trauma. And I found it really positive. I was really pleased with it. I was really pleased with the outcome and how it was all edited together. I thought it looked really well presented, and I thought it was sort of emotional, but not so emotional that it lost any kind of rational thought. Like, you could follow it, like even if you hadn't gone through some sort of trauma, I think you'd still be able to follow the thought process of each woman. So I thought that was really good. I was really, really happy with it. You never know with these kind of things whether they will work or not. So yeah, I was really pleased. And most of the comments on the video were so positive. There's so many women who were just like, wow, thank you for saying it. Well done for speaking up. I didn't know I had a birth trauma. I didn't know that's what it was that I was feeling. Loads of people joined the Birth Trauma Awareness or the Birth Trauma Association group on Facebook after the video, but also throughout the whole week because of all the activities that everybody involved was doing. So it was a really successful video. However, there were a few, I don't want to say negative, but a few criticisms of the video that I wanted to address now. The main one being that people didn't think that the video itself focused enough on the cause of birth trauma. And there is a lot of blame and anger and negativity towards the healthcare services in the UK especially, but I think generally around the world, the kind of maternity care that women receive. Now, I'm going to speak about the UK health services mainly because it's the only health services I've experienced, but it's also sort of one that I know about a little bit more and I can speak to with a bit more, with greater knowledge. So I kind of, to be fair to the rest of the world, I think it's only right that I talk about the UK's health system. Now, with the NHS, it's free at point of service. We pay taxes. The taxes go into a big pot, and some of those taxes that are raised go into our healthcare system. Now, we have a government in this country at the moment that seems hell-bent on destroying the NHS and getting rid of it and privatising things and just generally making it harder for people to get the healthcare they need in the way that we've come to expect. And, I think deserve as well. I don't think it is something that you should have to pay for. I think we should all help each other and be able to look after each other as a nation. I think that's great. Now, when it comes to my birth trauma, I am full of very complex feelings and thoughts about what happened and where blame might lie, if you need to place blame anywhere. But what I'm very certain about is that I don't think that any of the healthcare professionals involved in my maternity care prior to the birth, during the birth and after have done anything but their best. I think they have done the best that they could given the situation that we were in, the circumstances that we found ourselves in. I don't think anyone did anything malicious. I don't think there was negligence. I think there was a situation that arose and people were just trying to fix it as quickly as possible, solve it as quickly as possible, And yes, hindsight is a wonderful thing, and with hindsight, perhaps better communication could have been something that could be improved upon in years to come for other people. Doing a Strep B test. I think that's a really important thing that all pregnant women should have. They should have a test of Strep B. They do in other countries. I don't really understand why they don't here. That could have been done, and we would have known a lot sooner, and we would have been able to deal with it before it got to the scary situation that it got to with Eloise. So, yes, things could have been done better, but I don't believe that anyone in my care did anything wrong. And I think that's very important. It's a very important distinction to make. Yes, things could have been done better, but that doesn't mean they did anything wrong. They did their jobs to the best of their ability in that moment, and I am very sure of that, and I hold no anger towards them whatsoever. If there's any anger that I blame in regards to my healthcare, it is the fact that there are huge government cuts going on to the funding of particularly maternity services, but all healthcare in this country, but maternity services in particular. A friend of mine is a midwife, and she's amazing because she's got a young son, same age as my son, and she goes to work every day, and I just don't know how any working parent manages to be a working parent and still be amazing at both. Like, she's incredible. But anyway, she is a midwife, and so, I get to hear from her what's going on in the system. They have cut the bursary for people who are mature students or anyone doing like a second degree in midwifery. They've cut the bursar, so it's less affordable for those people. So you're relying on basically people straight out of school to go into being midwives. Well, a lot of people don't want to do it because it's a really hard job and it's really poorly paid, and there's not even a guarantee of a job at the end of it because the services are being cut so much that trusts can't afford to hire as many midwives as they quite possibly need. So there's all of that going on. There's also just the job itself is a really hard job, and the midwives are not compensated. They're not paid enough. They have to work really long hours. They don't get very much holiday, and at the end of it, any sane person would be like, do you know what? I just can't. I'm done. And on top of all of this, anytime anything goes wrong, any little tiny thing goes wrong, who gets the blame? The midwife. Your midwife is the person that you will blame if anything goes wrong. Now, of course, there's going to be the odd rotten apple who is negligent or is horrible, and I'm not going to pretend that everybody is perfect and rosy and angels. Let's not play that game. But it's a really, really, really difficult job. I couldn't do it. There's no way on earth I could work in healthcare for lots of reasons. Mainly, I just can't stand bodily fluids at all, particularly other people's. But it's just so demanding and so demoralising all the time, and then you get blamed if anything goes wrong, even if it's not actually your fault. And that's terrifying. Like, that's just awful. And everyone's experience is their own. Everyone's birth trauma is their own. Everyone's way of coping with the effects of their birth trauma are their own, and it is not for me to judge how you deal with that. But I wanted to make it very clear that in my circumstance, with what happened to me, I hold no blame. I hold no anger at the midwives that helped me. They were amazing. They were so supportive and so caring, and I genuinely feel they did their absolute best, and that's all I can ask. That's all I would ever want anyone to expect of me, and that is all I can expect of them. And I'm just grateful for the care that I did receive. And again, this is just my own experience. I don't want to sit here and start having a go at people for how they are dealing with their own experiences. That's not fair. But I want people to think a little bit further, think a little bit more before they start throwing around blame and start or continue to let the anger consume them. Just try, if you can, if you have the headspace, if you have the emotional heart space, to think a little bit further about what it is that actually went wrong and who really is to blame, if there's blame to be had at all. And try to find compassion if you can. I do genuinely think it will help. Anyway, that's all I wanted to say. I kind of rattled on for longer than I intended, but I think it's an important point. And I think the conversation on birth trauma and mental health generally is just getting started. I think we've got a long road to go before people feel confident talking about these things, and I'm glad to just be here. I'm glad to be at the start of the conversation, even if no one's listening. I'm fine talking off into the abyss, into the ether, that's fine. Alright, well, continue having a great bank holiday weekend. I love you all. If you like what I say, or if you want to hear more about the things I'm getting up to in my campaign for improving the dialogue about mental health, please click the like button below. You can also subscribe and get more of my videos. I'm going to try and get some more videos with the kids up because I think they're quite good fun. Let me know if that's what you want to hear. And if you have any thoughts on this, if you have any reaction to this, please let me know. And please go and check out the video on the BBC. I think it's a really important video. And there are, on the same page that the video's on, are loads of other videos that were made during the Birth Trauma Awareness Week of really interesting stories that people have to share, and totally worth checking those out as well. So, okay, that's it, I guess. Alright, thanks very much. See you soon.